There are times like these I really wish I had a microphone because I am hella tired, but I think I have to speak this loud for my computer to pick up the sound. So I haven't made a video in a while. Which doesn't matter because I'm just uploading these whenever I remember I there if that's possible. So I'm like way behind, but my last video was like I'm probably gonna call it like something I fucking hate Jack Kerouac because I think that was the last thing I talked about. Like I am so tired of his book. I don't understand what he's writing, and so I haven't read anything lately in a really long time. I tried several times, but I always gave up. So, but I still wanted to continue to learn, so I started reading two biography thingies. These two books. So this is what this video is gonna be about. I'm gonna talk a bit about like their real life and like the start because I haven't finished any of these. But I'm just gonna talk a bit because like there's so much and I talk a lot, so I'm just gonna. Apparently this is what I'm doing now. I just should I put the candles here? Ugh, I'm just making like kind of videos like during my reading like this. Can't really see. Whatever. So I first started reading this The Best Minds of My Generation, A Literary History of the Beats, Allen Ginsberg, edited by Bill Morgan, with a foreword by Anne Waldman. The reason why I stopped reading this was because after page like 60 or something, it starts being like about certain books, like chapter 9, page 60. Wow, exactly. I remember this. Is Kerouac Columbia and Vanity of Dolores, which I haven't read, so I was like, okay, how about I just read the chapters for the books that I have read, because it started with a bunch of whack books and then some Bros and Corso. I haven't read anything by Corso at all. Then a tiny bit of Peter Orlovsky and Carl Solomon. And I mean, I could like read the chapters on the books that I have read, but instead I was like, whatever. I am sick and tired of Kerouac. But I do want to read Visions of Dolores next because, again, it's like I don't want to read Big Sur because it's like the latest one, and I don't want to read Visions of Cody because it's really long, and I'm tired. But I should probably read Vanity of Dolores, and I should read Visions of Gerard soon, or Gerard. Um, Gerard is how you would pronounce it in Norwegian. Gerard Gerard. So I read up till then, and the foreword by Anne Waldman. So if you don't know who Anne Waldman is, she is like a late beat because she's like born. She's still alive. She was in like this feminist documentary that's on Netflix. But she was kind of the later beats. She founded the school at Naropa, the Naropa University School, the Disembodied Poetics or whatever. Jack Kerouac's School of Disembodied Poetics, I think, with Allen Ginsberg. And I actually took notes while reading this because I was like, okay, if I'm not reading whack, at least let me do this properly. So I did it super proper. Like, look, it's even like freaking yellow. Can you see? No, whatever. I did like the yellow thingy. And I started off with like a bunch of, for Anne Waldman's forward, it was pretty good. I don't like how she writes. She writes really difficult. I did not understand a lot of words. But what I did was it was actually kind of fun because I just wrote down the words that I didn't understand, or like there's words that's, for example, propagates or adhesive or prescient. It's like I would understand them and I understand them, but I wouldn't use them because I'm not like very sure of it, like cogent. It's like I understand the word, but I would never ever use it in a sentence myself, because when you like use difficult words but you don't know them that well. So that was really fun, because I was like, okay, so because I want to expand my vocabulary. I have to, because first of all, I mean, I'm moving to the US, and I mean, it's good enough, but it was just really, really fun. I like being able to talk. I mean, I get sick of hearing myself talk, because I use the same words all the time, because I don't know enough words. So I want to expand my vocabulary, and what I did was I would just write down words that I didn't understand, because reading books might help you, but not really if you don't like actually write them down. And what I did was, when I wrote the summary later, not of her foreword, but the summary of like the start of the book, I was like, I have to use the words I wrote down, like modus operandi, and exegesis. I put them in my summary. Like, I even wrote the summary. I'm like studying this properly, which is really fun, because until now I've only like read books, and then I've done these book reviews, but not really actually written anything while reading. But since this is like a biography, it's like it doesn't ruin the flow. So I really like that. I really, really like that. So I don't know if and I love the minor character books. I have to do like when I finish it, I have to do like a proper review, but I'm going to talk about what I've read so far, because it's so good. And honestly, I love how, like, I did not like how Anne Waldman wrote at all, even though I kind of turned it around and made it, I mean, I really liked it in a way, because it taught me a lot of new words because I was like, okay, let me learn this weirdo word, but it can be tiring to read difficult words. So, but I really like how Joyce Johnson writes. She writes, and she's hella funny. Like, what is up with that? Like, because this is the second wife biography. I have to have more of their wives written books, because, as you know, I loved Off the Road by Neal Cassady. Like, I loved it so much, I stopped reading it because I wanted to save it for later, because it was so good. And I'm loving my new characters so much. So I have to find every single book written by anyone who's dated or married the Beat Generation, apparently, because I love them. And it's also just fun to read books by women. I feel like I don't read enough. Like, what have I read by women? Even though it's like about men, it's still like their experience, their way of seeing things is so interesting. Like, she talks, and also because it's like a long time ago. And one thing I do have a problem with when I'm reading these two books is that because I should probably say that this is an edited version, because at the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics at Naropa University, Allen Ginsberg had hold like a beat course, and he taught for a really long time. So he never really finished, but he recorded everything, and what he didn't record, a student recorded as well at the same time. So when you can't hear Allen Ginsberg's own recording, because he was like, my mind is gonna go soon, I'm old, let me record everything. And it's so interesting, and because it's like his own words, like it's edited, like Bill Morgan, the editor, wrote a foreword saying like, yeah, he starts every sentence with so, and like there's a bunch of like, he basically just made his sense a bit better, because he would just take away and not, I mean, it's cool to read hear exactly what he's saying, but he said like it will be more distracting than cool. So I'm happy, and also he repeats himself a lot. So if he talked about Kerouac in 1947, like in the start of something, and then later on in a different lecture, he would just put those together. So it's really, really nice. But because it's basically his own words, everything feels so important. So I think I'm like taking way more notes than I should. Like, I'm just writing everything down, because it's just like, wow, so cool. Because I've only read one Beat biography before, which is the huge ass Allen Ginsberg one. Have I? Yes. And that was kind of at the start of my Beats craze, and this is his own words, so it's so cool. And also, well, I mean, I guess the Caroline Cassidy one was also like a biography, So yeah, I think it's really cool. So I just write down, and there's so many like quotes too, and I'm also writing a lot of this down because she is hella funny, and um, so this is both of those books I definitely do recommend, and I think, and it's always fun to get more details, like I don't know, like I know, and something I really liked about this book was this one is it's kind of started to, this was the best I've read when it comes to like what's it called, like diagnosing the time. That is not the correct word, but you understand what I mean, because I am just like Carolyn Cassidy. That's my biggest pet peeve with Carolyn Cassady's books, was that I never knew when I did never know. I never knew when stuff was happening, because like it was just, and it was Christmas, and it was Neal's birthday and everything. So I talk about this in my book review of that. So I was very confused. So that kind of sucked. But these two were really nice, and they just went through everything, and also like kind of divided by her. The start of her book kind of divided by people. Like she talked about John Wilmer for like 2 paragraphs, and then she talked about like Eddie Parker, and there's like, and I'm still learning new and extremely. I can't talk today. I can't talk anymore. I stopped being able to talk. A couple like last week. I don't know. I can't talk. But there's still like just so much fun stuff happening all the time. There's so many details that keeps I because there's so much crazy stuff. Like you can know something about the Beacon Rush. You can think like, oh haha, I know they like killed someone like at the start of the stuff, like Lucian Carr or something killed someone, and it's like that's kind of crazy. But then it's like, what the freak, like they only knew each other for like a couple months, like 2 months or something, because the murder was, I think it was like 13th of August. And no, wait, was that the John Wilmer murder? I don't know. I have to read through my notes, and I also have to make a summary by everything. And I keep getting new music to listen to too, like Brahms Trio No. 1. That was what Allen Ginsberg heard from Lucian's room, which was how they met. And and I also didn't know Eddie Parker's connection to the Beats before reading, to start reminding of characters, because it was like, I was like, okay, let me just kind of try to slowly work my way up to getting to know more people. Like I'm focusing on Kerouac and Ginsberg and kind of Lucian Carr, and then I'm like working my way through everyone, because it's like like Eileen Lee, Carolyn Cassidy, Corso. Oh wait, and also Burroughs, I guess. But I didn't know that Eddie Parker was like, because she like saw Lucian when Kerouac was away at sea in the Merchant Marines. She was like, oh, I don't have anything. Eddie Parker is his first wife, and then she was hanging out at this bar, and she was like, that's a gorgeous boy. And for some crazy reason, she didn't fall in love with Lucian Carr, but he introduced him to Jack, and the rest is history. So it's really great. And then Lucian also met Allen Ginsberg because he heard that song Brahms Trio No. 1. It's like I kind of knew how they met, but like just exactly how, and like it just keeps getting more and more detailed. I'm just flipping through this to see like what I've read. Oh, and also I didn't know that Kerouac was introduced to like bebop jazz stuff by this dude called Jared Newman, who owned a record store, or there was another dude too, but whatever. And he recorded like Thelonious Monk and Charlie Parker. Like it's so crazy. Like they just keep. It's so fun because it's like famous people everywhere. Like Joyce Johnson's the wife, because she was born Joyce Glassman, and Johnson is her final husband. I don't think they ever divorced, which is good for her. I hope they didn't. But is he called Jim Joyce? Wait, they can't be called Joyce and Jim Johnson. That's a silly name. Was he? I feel like he was, or maybe Tim. Whatever. He was like hanging out, and sometimes he'd go for a walk. He was studying art, and then there was this dude called Jackson who like was this alcoholic that he would have like um, strangely interesting conversation with, like kind of like what the frick, but also like wow, interesting. And like one time he like carried him home, and it turned out, oh yeah, his name is Jim Johnson. That is Jim and Joyce Johnson. That's a fun duo. Anyway, it turns out Jackson was Jackson Pollock, which is like what? Like he and got to know that like a couple got to know that a couple of years later. He's like, that was Jackson Pollock, which is, and like at the bar, the Waldorf cafeteria, everyone's hanging out, like Hans Hoffman, Jackson Pollock, Franz Klein, and Ginsberg and Jack is like everyone. Like, how did they like listen? There's so many famous people and from all famous areas. Like, I mean, of course, like famous people nowadays know each other, but it was also before they were famous, I think. And you could just hang out with them. You can't just go and like hang out with like Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift. I think. Oh, I thought it was really funny. I've written down so many quotes, but I thought it was really funny. I'm gonna read some quotes actually, because like this was funny. As I already said, Allen Ginsberg talking about like Raskolnikov, because someone like compared them, like Holmes compared them, and Allen Ginsberg was like, Raskolnikov murders in order to see what it feels like to contact reality in some ultimate way. And then he also says, Raskolnikov is very stupid, very unhip. Carrick and Burroughs and I also had a sense of good manners. I mean, you just don't go up to someone and murder them because you want to contact reality. Maybe you shouldn't contact reality if that's the way you got to go. Which I thought was funny, because I really like Raskolnikov. He's hella cute. I love him. I love Raskolnikov. He's so cool. Which is, I mean, yes, that is lame. He's not usually. I think. Oh yeah, I made a crime and punishment book review, where I talk about this, but I was like hella tired then, which is good, because like I can't make, as I said in that video, I can't really make an educated opinion on that in the same way, because like with the Beacon, which I'm actually like going down through, but I don't know anything about like Russia at the time or Dostoevsky. I only read one book and everything, so I don't. And I'm not actually like, I don't read that many books. I just really like the Beacon ration, which is like, oh, and look at my outfit. I'm like all I'm doing, I'm just listening to like jazz and like my Carol Wack playlist with like everything every time he mentioned, and I'm like dressing like this. But actually, I'm really happy. I bought these pants yesterday. Look at how nice they look. Wait, can you see? They're like wool pants, and I've been looking for a pair for a real long time, and they're so cool, and they like fit really well, which is amazing. I also really like them with like my jacket, but I'm warm. But I think it's a hella cute look. So this jacket I got for my confirmation by my uncle. And also I went to the hairdresser today, so I am very happy. Then with Magno characters, if I go back to that book, it's like, she's so funny, and I think she's written some other books too. I have to check them out, because like, I understand now why Wack married her, because she is hella funny. I really like the Beat Woman, except I'm a woman. I don't understand what she's writing. And here I haven't like done anything, because I've read like. I feel like I should read some more quotes. Actually, yes. How about I read some more quotes, because that is very fun. And let me see. Okay, so this is what I did today, because I was reading this book today a bit, and it's talked about when Kerouac went on the road. He was looking for girls, visions, everything. Somewhere along the line, the pearl would be handed to me. I like that. That is fun. And oh, and I really liked how Joyce described Neal Cassady, my favorite. A joyriding car thief, a yes-saying delinquent, a guiltless or ravenous consumer of philosophy, literature, women, all varieties of sexuality, in fact. Um, and that is also a fun way to say like how that you're bisexual, like a ravenous consumer of women, all varieties of sexuality, in fact, like that is fun, and that is fun. Let me just tell you to think it's funny, and you will. And also this quote from Kerouac about Neal. I heard again the voices of old companions and brothers under the bridge, among the motorcycles, along the washline neighborhoods, and drowsy doorsteps of afternoon where boys played guitar while their older brothers worked in the mills. Because he was like, my long lost brother, it's Neal. I love him. They love each other, platonically, but still beautifully. And I really like that. Here I wrote down some fashion, like Joyce's wrote fashion. Also, her life is really fun and interesting, and she just writes it really funny. Like, oh, I really like. Where's the quote about this? Here, how anyone could get a raincoat into a wallet is a mystery to me. But to ask would be to expose a gap in my sophistication. What this raincoat was actually what usually men wear to make sure there's no baby making or STDs getting transferred. So she's very funny, very very funny. Like and also like here she talked about when she was 13 years old, she would go to Greenwich Village and with her friend Maria, who was like really cool, and all the boys liked her, so she would often like third wheel to protect her. And they were also older, but also they liked that. They did like leave once the boy Maria was dating introduced like wanted to set Joyce up with a friend because he was like 32, but that wasn't the problem or the issue. He just looked really weird. But Maria was going really well with this dude Brian, who actually Joyce hooked up with when she was away, and she was like delivering their letters for them. That happened in Maggie Cassady. I was like, I'm sure. I just realized that because I remember when reading this today, I was like, huh, you have a boyfriend, but you have to like someone delivers their letter. That's really familiar, and it happens a lot, I guess. I mean, in a lot of movies and stuff, but in Maggie Cassady, Jack does that. Anyway, I was talking about how because she was dating this guy Brian who got these letters and everything when she was sent away because the mom, like, she tried to introduce Brian to her mom, and her usually chill mom was like, nope, you're gonna go and babysit or something far away. But then she switched to a co-ed school, and she found out that Brian, who they thought were 20, and I think they were like 15 here. I'm not quite sure, it wasn't described perfectly, but I think they were 15, 16. Actually, no, they were not 16. I think they were 15, maybe 14. So they thought he was like 20, or he said he was 25 or 20. No, he said he was 25. But at the co-ed school, he was like, I'm a teacher here. Turns out he was a student. He was 17, and she broke up with him because he was like too young. But she was like 15. Like, what? I don't understand this. Like, one thing is all of the creepy ass men who wants to date young women because like everyone's a pedophile. Which, if you want to hear my opinions on that, listen to my like rant about hearing Kawakami's book. Is that her name? Strange Weather in Tokyo. Hiromi Kawakami. Strange Weather in Tokyo. Because I was ranting. I was ranting a lot, and also despite this being like many videos ago, I still haven't uploaded it, so I don't know the title yet. But it should be easy to find. It's probably gonna be something like I hate pedophiles. No, it's not. It's gonna be like Kawakami. Whatever. You'll see it. I will figure it out in a couple of weeks when I bother to upload it. I like the word anachronistic, belonging to a period other than being portrayed or appropriate to earlier period, old-fashioned. Like she talked about how I wrote this glossary down because Jack Kerouac in 47 going on the road was anachronistic because I think it's because like people didn't do that anymore, because in like the 30s and 20s she talks a lot about the 20s and 30s and how it's like oh wow, our parents are like sad and stuff, and like it's really interesting. I'm learning so much history actually from reading minor characters, because she's like describing the silent generation which she's part of. She's a bit younger than she was born in like hella late. When was she born? I wrote this down. And she talks, wait, let me first find out when she's born. When is she born? Here is this Eddie, oh, I started here. She was born, nope, she was not born. Was she ever born? She was, ooh, and this real quote I like too, let me read this. For that is the reason they left home one day, rather violently. They came from good families, but when they lift their arms as they draw, it appears that their dress isn't buttoned in back, or at any rate not completely. There are a few buttons that they couldn't reach, for when the dress was made, no one had imagined that they would suddenly go away alone. And from Rilke, and apparently he was lame, though he meant this quote. I think Joyce said something about how like when he did write this, he meant it as a beef to women, like as a do you say beef in English? As a you're lame, but I think it's just cool. I think it's a nice picture of, it's like a very representing, I don't know, yes, metaphor, but it's also not. It is exactly like this, but in a sense also means more. I don't know. It's a good way to describe this thing. Why am I making book reviews? Because I don't. How do I talk? I don't know how to talk. And she doesn't even talk about herself here, because she starts off with being like, so the Jack and the camera murder, and then she talks about like Eddie Parker. And that was also, I wonder if Eddie Parker has written a book, because if she has, I have to read it. And Joan Vollmer, she's really cool, and I love how she's just like, oh yeah, Eddie Parker and Joan Vollmer, really cool chicks, never met them, but I imagine they were hella cool. I really like them. And I wanted to see when she was born. She moved to New York City in 45. Oh, she was born in 1935. She was born in 1935. Okay, finally found out. So the reason why I wanted to do, because of the generation thing, because she wrote like about how they're the silent generation. Here, they were called the silent generation, or the other directed. They're passive, conformist, and they're self-individualistic, and doesn't rebel. There's little chance of rebellion, like no rebels. And the quote from T.S. Eliot, "Do I dare to eat a peach?" Was like, they were like ashamed because they knew they didn't. This generation, they didn't dare. So she was like, geez. It was all really fun because she was all like, I want to be cool. I want to be bohemian. I'm gonna hang out at like the coolest place ever, the place where Jackson Pollock, the Waldorf cafeteria, where like Pollock and all of the cool kids hang out. When she was like 13, she was like, wow, so cool. But then she, that's also really fun because I'm like, oh yeah, because that's the thing though. Like when I read, of course, it's like a completely different time where, and she wrote about how she got her period, and her mom brought like a pink string or something. I don't know. I did not understand this. She went to the school, and this reminds me of a book I read when I was a kid about this a family who lived in like the jungle or something, um, and when she didn't know what a period was, and like she was just bleeding a lot and crying a lot, obviously, and then they had to like, and but only her dad was home, so they had to take like the helicopter for like 2 hours or something away. I have no idea what that book is, but I read it with my mom, so she might know, or she does know. But that's the only thing I remember right now. Oh no, I remember a couple other things. Um, but yeah, She talks a lot about like the time period, like how um, they were like her parents were like from the depression, and they're married for business, not for love. They had a good relationship, but it was like this is practical. It's not like it was when she. Oh yeah, because afterwards she would think about her own life with affection, but there was affection but no passion, and it's also fun to just like parents like I still don't really know like what's up with Mimere, Jack's mom. Like, I mean, obviously he was like obsessed with her. Like, Joyce put it really well how Neal was like rootless and he was like just everywhere and like whatever. I'm on the road. I was born on the road. Yeah. And then you have Jack who's like very much rooted. Like he tries really hard to, but I feel like that's kind of the difference with Neal is just like honestly Neal is like a otherworldly because everyone sees it too. It's not like everyone describes him as like wow, like this person is just amazing, never met anyone like him. And Jack tries really hard, so like Jack is so much more human. Like Neal isn't really human in a way. He's so cool though. I really like him. He's such like an OP character. Like he's just too great. I mean, he's not too great. There's a bunch of faults with him, but like, are there cool faults? I don't know. Maybe not. Not all of them. Some of them are not just faults, but they're just faults, not cool faults. But anyway, the point is that Jack's way more human and more like he's so insecure. He's so sad. He's like an alcoholic. He's like, ugh, but Neal has problems too. Like he's human too, but he's way more like I guess he was really mystified and whatever, but still, Jack is more like insecure. He's also like following. And oh, I saw this quote because I'm following this Instagram, and I saw this quote that I hope I screenshotted it because it was really fun. It was a really really good, or I don't know if it was a quote. Oh here, no, not here. Okay, I can't find it. Whatever. And I changed my background to Burroughs drawing. Did I really not screenshot this? I really like this. It was about how Jack writes and how he's like, observe everything and stuff. And I'm like, yes, this is so Jack. And also make connections, which is how he does. He's always like, and like think of the full story. Like, oh, you see like this greasy diner, but it's actually like a metaphor for America or whatever. Where it's like, you can see like this mom with a stroller and everything. I feel like I've used this example before. But whatever. I never claimed to be anything other than dumb. Well, not dumb, but I have to talk fast because I don't know how to edit videos. So next topic. I love this book so much, and it is great to read from a woman, and she's just like she just seems really smart, like in a different way than the boys. In the same way that Carolyn. And I also really feel in the moment like how they write in the same way like Carolyn allowed me to fall in love with Neal from 2018 and it's soon gonna be to 2019 because like I really liked her words. I mean, I'm kind of happy it didn't happen in real life. Haha. This is so lame. He's not like an anime character. Neal's not my waifu, but you get what I mean though, right? It's like it's really fun. I really feel like because you read books to kind of like become the characters. Like that's so fun, and some books do it really well. And Carolyn's did it really well. I really felt connected with her character and just like felt like I was the one there experiencing everything in a way that just Carol Wack's books and Burroughs books because it's just too different from me. So, and also Joyce Johnson is also just like, ah, this is like so human because that's the thing. Like Burroughs, oh yeah, that was really fun. Jerry Newman that I talked about earlier, who was the dude who was owned the music shop and like recorded the Lonely Smash Charlie Parker and stuff. He also had a collections of videotapes that was like funny. So one of them was a drunk BBC reporter, which was Burroughs thinking like, what if people was in public as they were in private? What if people wrote their thoughts so that like really it inspired him into like Naked Lunch and everything to just be like intelligent. I don't know. I haven't read Naked Lunch, but I really I wrote like a bunch of paleontology stuff because I love the world here. Or actually I remembered it all, so it's fine. But the point of this, what was I talking about? I was talking about how, oh yeah, they're supposed to be like, okay, you're trying to write like really realistic and like superhumanly, but I just feel like Joyce and Carolyn, it's like, oh yeah, you're describing feelings that are true and real and experienced. And I mean, I did feel really alive reading On the Road. I'm hating too much on Whack now, but I'm so sick of his words, his long ass sentences. I mean, I kind of miss them, but I'm also just like, ugh. I want to rest my brain. And reading this book, this is a really easy read. So, and also Allen Ginsberg's is also a really easy read. So much better than Kerouac when you're not prepared to. Yes, I need to learn more history because she talks so much about the whole thing, like from 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or no. Oh yeah, I'm in the 50s now. I'm in 51 when she starts at Barnard College because she's like amazing at piano and music, and her mom is like, oh yeah, I cut myself off earlier. What was like, because there's so much about Jack's mom. Like she was like so important, and like he's rooted in her. Like that's the thing I was talking about, how like Neal is like rootless, and he's all like, oh yeah, I just totally went off there and I did not finish what I was saying. So what I tried to say earlier but forgot was that Neal, oh my hair is so nice. Neal is all like rootless. Sorry, I'm like not focused. And Jack's like root. He has the root. That's what she said. Like in his mom, which is like super true. Like he's like keeps going back to her, and tries to be like the perfect son from time to time, and he ended up with her like just on her living room stool, not stool. Stool is a word in English, but I'm looking for the word chair. In her chair. Should I stop this video now? No, but I still wasn't finished with what I was saying. So, rootless and rooted. And Neal and Jack. And his mom. Oh yeah, I wonder, was his mom really like? I mean, I know she didn't like his friends, but at the same time, like, can you blame her though? Like, Burroughs shot his wife and did hella drugs, and like both he and Alan turned out to be like pedophiles, and like they're also like just and they're all like crazy, and they're all like doing drugs and like drinking a lot, and I mean Jack was drinking a lot, but and like everything, and Neal died really young, and it's like, I don't know, was she wrong when she was like, I hate your friends, and like you can't play with them? Like, I mean it was kind of weird though, because he was like an adult man, so he should be able to pick his own friends, but did he have to listen to her? Like, isn't that kind of on him and not her? Like, was she that controlling? He really loved her, but she seems kind of nice, but I mean, obviously their relationship was like really weird. Like, why was he like? I don't know. It's good to have a good relationship with your mom, but when you're like, that's like, I don't know. I wonder, what was she really like? What was even her name? I don't even know her name. Ma mère. That is just. Is that her name? I thought that was just the French word for mom that I'm definitely mispronouncing, but whatever. I can say any words now anyway, so. Ah. Um. Oh, Eddie used to work as a cigarette girl, which I learned what was. With girls who sold cigarettes, and I googled it. There's like pictures because they had like cigarettes that they sold. Um. Oh, okay. I'm just reading through my notes, and maybe I think it's very good I made this video now actually, cause I have a lot to say apparently, and I'm gonna. The more I read, the more I'm gonna have to say. So it was good I now, cause oh my god, this is 40 minutes long. I cannot. I need to hang up. Um. So I'm gonna finish this book. Yes, I'm gonna finish this book. Also, look, I have a Christmas tree. Can you see it? Wait, I have a lamp here. A Christmas tree. And I have to put this on and on the in the living room is what I tried to say. I cannot talk. So, as as an ending, I'm going to continue reading this and can take notes. I'm going to like do the yellow thing because I forgot my yellow pen, my yellow thingy. I don't know, the yellow pen today, so I didn't do the yellow thing. And write a summary like I did with this. This was even cleaner though, like very like, oh, this is obviously important information. And here, this one I will read. Yes, and and then I guess I'll try Visions of Doulos. I re-borrowed Big Sur today. I've borrowed this like 4 times, and I've never, or 5 times, probably even more. Like I borrowed this a lot of times, but I'm never reading it. Oh, and also I borrowed this book because when I went into the library, that was like the first book I saw, and I was like, oh wow, but it's about a boy. So it's Kerouac on record. Is that the name? On record. Kerouac on record. A literary soundtrack. Which is about Kerouac and music. I'm not really that interested in music, but I mean, I like listening to it. I play like 3 instruments badly, but I do, and I have made big progress because I'm hosting my Christmas table on Friday, and now I got my finally fixed my ugly ass hair, so I will look great, and I can play the piano, and I can play like Santa Baby, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I love like Christmas. Merry Christmas. And we're gonna make porridge with the almond in it, so the winner gets the pig, the marzipan pig. Is all this? And with the glögg, or glühwein, maybe. Is that similar? Is it the same thing? I don't know if it's the same thing. But it's gonna be a swell time, and I have my Christmas dress, the red one I wore it in not a video once, but yes. And I am looking forward to my Christmas table a lot. And now I am going to hang up because this is talking on the phone. And I will visit a friend and play Life is Strange. Probably, maybe the new episode. The problem is the Seamsdale is tomorrow, and it just feels really dumb that we would buy a video game the day before the Christmas sale. Like, and also, why isn't season 2 episode 1 free? Is it because it's terrible? I feel like it doesn't have Nathan Prescott. Also, what is this? My taste in characters is terrible. But I mean, my favorite is Nathan Prescott. But also, I love Victoria. Do I really love? I mean, Raskolnikov, Nathan Prescott, Neal Cassady. Am I lame? I thought it was cool. I always liked like like the sidekick, like Lance from Voltron, but he's the best. And Kiba Inuzuka from Naruto, he's not even a sidekick, he's just like a minor character, but I loved him. But I thought, why am I liking so many lame characters? I thought I liked cool people, like fun people that are good, like written. Who am I talking about? Oh, Nathan Prescott, because he's like so edgy. Am I edgy? Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I mean, of course, you never do, but I thought better of myself. I'm very disappointed. Whatever. I am very happy. It's Christmas. I love people. People make me very happy. I am happy there's a lot of people. Humans are great. This is Tom Wolf. Yes. But I don't want to read this because I hate drugs. I hate reading about drugs. It's so boring. So boring. Drugs are so boring. Like, what's up with that? Like, drugs are so boring. So boring. They bore me. Like, I mean, sure, they're terrible, but they're just so boring, and that's the worst part of it. I mean, it's not the worst part. I mean, it's very sad that people are drug addicts, but it's just very annoying when people that are not drug addicts, but just like drugs and have fun with it. It's so boring, and I hate it. I hate drugs. I am bored. Drugs are boring. Don't do drugs, kids, because it's boring.